Now, we're going to welcome our second team this evening, and I'll let you know who they are. This challenge is known as Boosting Public Transport Use, and they were mentored by Christina Kavjanic from Transport for New South Wales, Brennan Daly from Ventia, and Maritsis Kakaperis from GHD. The people who participated in this team were Lilia Lanegra from GHD, Brooke Levinston from Urban Growth New South Wales, Robert Montgomery from Infrastructure Partnerships Australia, Naomi Crichton from Veolia, and Susanna Ma from Ventia. And they will be joining us in a moment to talk about boosting public transport. And it would be rude of us not to allow Tim Reardon to be the judge to have the first say on this one this evening. Please welcome Boosting Public Transport Use team.
Good afternoon. Our challenge is how to boost public transport use. We're going to show you how Transport for New South Wales can find and fill the gaps in Sydney's public transport system, using on-demand buses that let passengers ride in real time. Now, I thought I'd start my speech today with everyone's favourite part of a presentation, audience participation. So I'm going to do a quick survey on how you all travel to Sydney Uni today. So can I get you to raise your hand if you arrived by train? And now raise your hands if you came by bus. And finally, or second to finally, can you raise your hand if you drove or took a taxi? And now the final one, raise your hand up if you have absolutely no clue how you got here. Now back to our very serious topic at hand in boosting public transport use. The reason I asked you this is because I want you to reflect on how your journey was today. Did your bus turn up on time? Did you get a seat on the train? Were you sitting in traffic anxiously wondering whether you'd make it here on time? Well, if you experienced any of these problems, then it's probably no surprise that Sydney has some major transport challenges. In fact, the Bureau of Infrastructure, Transport and Regional Economics estimates that by 2030, congestion will cost Sydney $12.6 billion per annum. But what's the cause of this? Well, as you can see, cars are a major cause of congestion. And although the state government is investing billions of dollars on improving a public transport system, not everyone is able to access the benefits equally. In 2012, a study by the Western Sydney University found that 34.4% of urban areas in Sydney are transport disadvantaged. Now, this represents 1.2 million Sydney-siders who have insufficient access to public transport services. So the data reveals clear gaps in the transport system. But now, Naomi is going to show you how we've created a solution that will let passengers ride on real time.
Ride on Real Time will replace fixed route and fixed schedule local bus services with a flexible service that lets real customers decide their local bus routes in real time. But I want to take a minute here and step back from the solution and tell you about Sydney's existing bus system. You might be surprised to learn that it consists of over 600 different routes, which are serviced by many different types of bus services. Fundamentally though, it's structured as a three-tiered network, comprising rapid, suburban and local service routes. Now, I want to be clear from the outset, we are not looking to overhaul the entire bus system. As Rob mentioned, it's about finding and filling the gaps in order to boost public transport use and increase customer satisfaction. So with that in mind, Ride on Real Time will focus on local bus service routes. So these are the routes that complete the transport puzzle. They use local streets and roads and operate currently as a timetabled service. So I'm now going to walk you through the what, why, who, where, when and how to further explain how Ride on Real Time works in practice. So what is it? Well, at its simplest, what we're talking about are small to medium-sized shuttles, which are capable of carrying between 20 and 50 passengers. Passengers will select a start and an end point for their journey. That user data is then aggregated, and an optimal route with reference to existing bus stops is then calculated. Demand is key here and will determine the frequency, the size of bus, and the route. So why buses? Well, buses can be put into service more quickly, more cheaply, and to more places than any other form of public transport. Importantly though, the flexibility of buses allows us to make the most of fixed transport infrastructure, such as light and heavy rail. So who are we targeting? Well, this solution will help fill the gap for those 1.2 million Sydney-siders that we have identified that are currently underserviced. So logically then it follows that the where are those local bus routes in these underserviced areas. It's all about connectivity and access, connecting people with existing infrastructure. The service will operate both on and off peak, although it probably goes without saying that the biggest gap to fill from an efficiency and customer satisfaction perspective is during off-peak periods, where services are currently both infrequent and underutilised. So finally, how? Well, you can book trips up to 15 minutes before you travel in one of 4 ways. You can book using your smartphone via the existing TripView app. You can book online via the TFNSW website. Book over the phone if you're old school. And also by touchscreen from a separate stand at existing bus stops, which will enable booking on the go. It really is that simple.
All right. So all dynamic buses will have real-time connection to a GPS and trip planning software. This software will calculate routes using customer demand and requested trips. Targeted bus stops will have electronic check-in points where customers can simply turn up and request a journey. Once this journey has been registered, the stand will be activated and a bus service deployed accordingly. It's important to note that buses will not stop unless a bus stand is active. For those passengers who choose to book by phone or through the TripView app, you can simply turn up at your designated bus stop and at the designated time. So why is Ride on Real Time the solution for Sydney? Well, we have identified 4 key reasons. 1, Ride on Real Time improves access. A 2013 survey undertaken by the ABS revealed that over 50% of adults travelling to either work or study indicated that a lack of access was their reason for not using public transport. 2, Ride on Real Time will improve journey efficiency. 3, Ride on Real Time will reduce overcrowding. Using real-time passenger data will allow operators to deploy services that meet fluctuations on demand. And lastly, Ride on Real Time will improve connections. So now time for the ugly part of the conversation, cost. We acknowledge there will be some implementation costs with this initiative. However, Ride on Real Time will address the fundamental issue of cost recovery. Did you know that in 2013, passenger fares only recovered 28% of the cost of running the Sydney bus system? The rest was paid by you, the taxpayer. Our solution overcomes this in 2 ways. Firstly, it will get more people using public transport, particularly those who would otherwise use a private motor vehicle. And secondly, the program will remove a number of underutilised and ineffective routes, allowing resources to be used more efficiently somewhere else. The good news for the passenger is that prices will be charged in line with the existing fare structure. Passengers can simply tap on and tap off.
So coming back to where we started, it's clear that Sydney needs to change the way it moves. And for those of you who took a taxi or drove today, can I ask you a simple question, that if you were able to open an app and book a bus, would you join us and ride on Real Time?
Tim, your first reaction to that?
Thank you, and a wonderful pitch. Very well done. You should be very pleased. I know it's from last year how hard it is to get up and pitch in 8 minutes, so well done. And I'll try and keep my comments to 2 minutes in reply. Look, in terms of where you've hit for the problem definition, fantastic. The spatial distribution of Sydney and the previous presentation about needing medium density housing, you're spot on. That is our challenge. So well done on hitting the mark in terms of what the problem definition is. In terms of solution, there is a lot of work that's gone in over a long period of time in terms of what has been coined flexible transport, paratransit and all those type of things that you would have read about. But the fact that we have so much big data, open data available to us now, and you've hit on that where we can mash a lot more of that together to get innovation and optimise our services a lot better is a very smart idea, and the way you presented it in a coherent fashion I thought was fantastic. Last but not least, it wouldn't be a pitch to transport if you didn't talk about the economic rational part of it, which is I'm glad you went to cost. And the delivery of cost. Yes, our cost recovery is what it is, but you talked about a solution to that, so well done. It's one of the things that can be brushed over rather quickly, but when you have a transport system on the scale that we do, not going across that cost aspect would have been a gap, but you filled it quite well. So really well done, and congratulate you on the pitch.
Great. Thank you, guys. Thank you.